How's it, guys? Welcome back to the Pirates podcast. It's been a week because of international break. Least favorite time seeing club football games, but we are finally back. Pirates play on Tuesday against Chippa, but there's obviously some big talking points that have happened this week. The big one being TLB and Mbokazi, the big link to Chicago Fire going to the MLS. Very, very strong links. And then obviously a little update on CAF as well. We've got a conclusion to that case and what's going on. So we'll be chatting all about that. Joe, thanks for joining me. How was the international break for you?
Yeah, international break was good. It was good for us as Pirates fans, right? Because we saw Apolis again. That was top class for Bafana against Zambia. It's good to see. And remember, we last time we were together with Innocent Maela, and he was saying that the best player in South Africa was Apolis, and Apolis scored straight after that. So good to see that still knows football.
Yeah. So Joe, you've been riling up some people on Twitter this week with all your CAF opinions. What are the intricacies of this case? Was obviously being concluded. Pirates will not be competing in the Champions League this season. We've got our final outcome, and Pirates has actually been fined as well. But at the same time, their coach has been suspended and fined as well. So what's actually happened here and what's going on?
Look, to be honest, I think Pirates really had a case, and CAF, they saw that they would never have time to sort out things because they had the group stages that were done. They had 2 weeks to sort it out, and there's just no ways that in 2 weeks you can change teams with a continent as big as Africa for the travels, to make things happen. I really do think that Pirates were in the right and what shows that is that the coach is now suspended during the CAF games. And he was not suspended for the game against Pirates, which makes absolute no sense. Which means if he's suspended now, it means he should have been suspended before. So that's the first thing. But it is what it is, And second thing, they were not talking much about the passport story, where I really do believe that Pirates had a case where a player actually had two passports, and the passport that they shown at the game was not the passport that was in the CAF system. Again, I think CAF didn't want to take too much risk. Because they just didn't have time, and it was easier for them to say that there was nothing wrong than for them to actually really look at the case. Just a pity for Pirates. Look, we said it together. We should have qualified on the pitch, but yeah, CAF, they really have to have the real look at the administration, because you can't tell a coach that he's suspended, but he was fine the game before. It doesn't sound right to me, and I know that Chiefs and Sundowns fans will be tuning us, but at the end of the day, we want CAF that's and like that all decisions, they all make sense, and this one doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what you think from your side, seeing it from the outside as well, but doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, look, I personally almost wrote it off when it gets to this stage, and especially the quick turnaround of like a 2-week period where I was like, there's no way they're going to restructure the whole tournament and all the fixtures to try to get Pirates in here. It was going to cause too much chaos. There just wasn't enough time to see this through a court case and all that sort of stuff. And I wasn't that hopeful, but I was surprised to see the outcome. I mean, if you're going to say that the team's not guilty, then why suspend the coach and then give him a fine as well? And then weird to then turn around as well and then give Pirates a fine over like really, really minuscule, small things, a really small fine. It was almost just like they were just trying to get an outcome out as quick as possible. I don't know.
No, I agree. But it is what it is, right? On the fine that we got for the Muti part, very funny, because we all know that Congolese teams are literally the worst in the whole continent for Muti. So for them to be that petty, and anyway, you know what? It's behind us now. You know what? We're not in CAF, but we already have one trophy this season. Hopefully, we'll have a second one in the next 2 weeks, and then the clowns from Sundowns and Chiefs, they can make their jokes when we'll make our jokes with the trophies.
Yeah. Joe, now the big talking point this week and what came out yesterday, Mark Gleeson is the one who reported on this, and I wouldn't normally take it too seriously, but Mark Gleeson is one where I know that where there's smoke, there's fire. He reported that our main man centre back, TLB, is on his way to Chicago Fire, the MLS, $3 million. Initial impressions, how much truth do you think there is to these rumors? And it's looking more and more likely the more I'm reading on social media and sort of the more credible voices that are coming out confirming this stuff.
Yeah, also so like a few hours ago, there's a big journalist from ESPN in the USA that confirmed that there are talks. I don't think he's signed yet or anything, but if he's traveled to the USA, it might mean that Pirates have accepted an offer. If it's $3 million, it's a very good offer for a player from Africa, and it will be one of the top 10 transfers in the whole history of Africa, to be from Africa to another continent. Yes, I see a lot of people that are not happy. I also said, on Twitter, the same thing, where I think he's got a level that's better than playing in the MLS. But from a Pirates perspective, I think $3 million is a very, very good transfer fee. Hopefully there's also, a percentage on the resale that they'll get, because I'm pretty sure that he'll be very, very dominant in the MLS. Chicago Fire was quite a bad team last year, where we have to be honest here. This season they're a bit better. They probably will play the playoffs. And I think with Mbokazi for next season, they'll really have a strong defense. So good for the player as well. Like playing in the USA is very cool. He's going to play against Messi now. I think it's pretty awesome for him to have that, right? But yeah, for me, MLS is going to be 2 years and then he'll go play in Europe, because I think he really will show that he's a dominant player there.
Yeah. My main concern is I can't remember the interview offhand, but I don't like Hugo Broos has not spoken too glowingly about the MLS and doesn't think it's a step forward. And with the World Cup right around the corner, my one concern is I look at some of the, like Hlongwane, who's playing in MLS, like hasn't even had a look in for South Africa. When Blom was there playing well in the MLS, no one really cared about his performances there. My worry is that he just goes there and South Africans don't really have an eye on the MLS to see how well players are doing, that he doesn't keep that momentum going. And I mean, I think Hugo Broos rates him really highly, but I'd be very interested to hear his opinion on this move, because he has been quite opinionated when certain players have chosen certain career moves. So I'd be interested to hear what he thinks about this.
Look, I'm sure Hugo Broos is actually fuming to read the reports, because you all know, as you said, he really doesn't read the MLS. Mbokazi being one of his first players he will put on a team sheet, he will now have to look at the MLS, and yeah, if TLB plays regularly at Chicago Fire, will play in the World Cup, I'm pretty sure around that. He's such a generational talent for me. He can be one of the best centre backs Africa ever had, in my opinion. So Broos will have to look at the MLS now. He has to, because he's too good for not to be overlooked.
Yeah, and then just something that I'm thinking about as well. If Pirates, now they get this deal done, it's $3 million. In Quarter going this season as well, for what I'm assuming is a hefty price tag as well. That's two massive pieces of business. And if Pirates win the second cup, I mean, if they've won 2 cups, bring in $5 million in the first 6 months of the season, like you're looking at that as like, it's not necessarily what you want as a fan. The money's not going into your bank account, but it's like, it's very, very good business to still get a new coach, win 2 trophies, or at least win 1, and hopefully another cup final, win another one, and sell 2 very talented young players for a lot of money. Pirates are doing good business.
So Pirates, I've been there for a few years with management, and there's one thing where they're very good at. It's managing the team in terms of business. They'll never overspend, but they'll never underspend either. And when there's a good deal that they see, they always take it. And $3 million for a player that a year ago, no one had any idea he was existing because he was playing in DDC. Sometimes we forget that, right? He hasn't been even playing for a year at Pirates. And now we're selling for $3 million, which is a huge amount of money for a player that comes from Africa. Great piece of business. Also, it's a big loss for us as a club, because he was by far our best centre back. But look at who we have behind him, right? Obviously, there's Siema, there's CBC, we've got Nda and Sesane that are going to come back as well. I mean, we still have got the best centre backs in South Africa. After Mbokazi, we still have got in the top 10, we've got 5 of the top 10.
And we linked heavily to Molasane from Stellenbosch as well. Yep. So it's not that we're just going to get rid of him. We're still going to replace him, because obviously Tapelo's injury doesn't help either. So we don't know. And Dan Sesane is still not match ready. So we will have to replace him, I think, immediately. But hopefully in the coming months, we'll be back up to 4 to 5 really quality centre backs.
And we will,
And we
because
obviously
now
have
there's the AFCON, right? That starts. So AFCON
yeah.
is like, we've got 2 months to get all the players back. I think in like end of January, we'll have a very, very strong team. Mbokazi, for me, huge loss in terms of player. And it's impossible to replace your best player. But we have players that are almost as good. And that's why, like, for me, $3 million, if it really happens, great piece of business by Paris. And we move.
Yeah. Joe, now where does this leave Réle mentally? That two younger guys have come through, got the big moves, and he's still sort of waiting. And I mean, just what do you think's going on in his head? He for all of us is like Pirates' most prized possession. Like, at what point does he start to ask the question, like, what about me?
Look, I think Relay, he'll have to be quite strong in the next 2 weeks, because he actually needs to be quite strong, because he needs to play well. And in our last 3 games, if he wants to go to AFCON. And I 100% think he's going to play well, actually. And I know that Wado is going to try to make sure that he's in the best conditions to show Hugo Bruce that he deserves to be in Morocco the next month. And then, you know what? Then there's AFCON. If Relay does well at AFCON, there'll be an offer in January for him. So he really has to see it like this, where if he performs now, he'll do the same. You know, football is not linear. Sometimes you've got like great players that never really had a great move. Look at Loach. Loach, probably one of the best players in the last 10 years in the PSL, never moved to Europe. It happens. And there's players that were way less known or good that went to Europe. Relay will go. And I really hope that he plays very well this week, like Chipa. And Durban still will be huge games for him. Obviously, there's the final after as well. If he does well there, he'll be at AFCON. And then if he's at AFCON, you know, like it's for him to show that he
Massive
can
shop
play
window.
further.
Yeah, okay. Quickly, we touch on, we've got 2 games this week. Cheaper United on Tuesday and then Durban City on the weekend. Must win games to keep us in the race, because it looks like Sundown's fixtures are on the easier side this week, and Cheaper are currently bottom of the log, which at the same time is a little bit dangerous, but we need to win this game. Durban City, a little bit more tricky, but like one challenge at a time. Cheaper United, a must win for us on Tuesday.
You know, we must win, like when you're Paris and I think we all want to be top of the league when AFCON comes, which means we need to win our next 2 games. Chipa at home, hopefully with a good crowd, but I haven't seen Paris for a long time, so I think we'll have a very good crowd on Tuesday. And then Durban City, Moses Mabila, which is good for us because we're used to play there. Just Gavin Hunt, you know, he's always got some tricks under his sleeve when he plays against Paris. But I think, you know, the players, we just have to really feel that they have to be 100%. Only 3 games that when they're on holiday or at AFCON. So we must just give their best. And hopefully we get this next week with 6 points. Gonna be hard, not easy. But if the players play 100% and with the full strength squad, they can do it.
Yeah. Guys, that's it for this one. Let us know what you think about the Mbokazi move, and do you think it's a positive move in the right direction for his career, or if you believe otherwise, let us know in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys hopefully on Sunday with another 6 points in the bank, and we are near the top of the log. But we'll catch you guys next week, and thank you very much. See you guys in the next one.